Hi, Mike Felicio from Solo Mode Games. Today I'm going to do a solo playthrough of the 1 to 4 player game Fate of the Elder Gods from Fabled Nexus Games and Greater Than Games. This is a game set in the Lovecraftian Cthulhu-based universe, and it has a interesting worker placement mechanic with some hand management. It's a pretty quick playing game. This was my first solo game. I'd already played a multiplayer game, and so I was actually taken by how quickly the solo game played. And hopefully you get a pretty good idea on how the game is played as soon as we go to the table. So let's take a look. Okay, here we have the solo setup for Fate of the Elder Gods. The setup is very similar to the multiplayer game, and full disclosure here, I have played the game once as a 3-player multiplayer game, but this is actually going to be my first attempt at a solo game. And so basically the way the setup works is that I have my Fate piece, which is going to be this darker, more green looking Cthulhu type piece over here in the Other Worlds area of the board. And this is going to be kind of the I would call the AI player, the investigators player, and the investigators here are these characters that are going to be kind of working against me. They're the ones that are trying to keep me from summoning my Elder God. And in the case of this game, I drew Yog-Sothoth as my Elder God, and that's who I'm trying to summon to win the game. For me to win the game, I have to move my summon marker, which is this. It chose purple. This purple marker along this board to the 9th spot. If I can get to that 9th summoning spot before losing conditions, then I will have summoned Yog-Sothoth, and my cultists will celebrate that victory. There's a couple of ways to lose. If I gain 10 Elder Signs, these are Elder Signs, and these will be placed on my board as I gain them. When I gain 10 Elder Signs, or if, well, I don't want to say when, although that's probably more likely. If I gain 10 Elder Signs, then my God has been sealed away and I lose. If I also gain 5 Curse cards, which are these cards right here, that's another way that I'm going to lose. Curse cards work differently in the solo game. In the multiplayer game, they're cards that affect other players, but and they actually have particular curses on them that are gonna denote what you do. But in the solo game, you don't ever actually even read these cards. Certain effects will bring them onto your board, and you basically, if I ever have 5 of these face down curse cards, that is also a losing condition. All right. I'm gonna try to explain things as I go, but for the most part, just to give you a little bit of an idea, the last part of the setup is that one of my cultists gets placed in every location. Starting in this spot, we have the Other Worlds location. Here we've got the museum. Here we've got the ceremony. Here we've got the streets of Arkham. Here we've got the gathering, and here we've got the library. And in each location, in a bit of a worker placement-esque mechanic, you can do one basic you have to do whatever the basic action is of that location, and then there's a more powerful action known as a control action, and I'll explain that as we get to it. So in each location, I've placed both one of my cultists and one of the investigators. Also, I've got 7 of my cultists in what's known as the Abyss, and finally 7 of my cultists in my lodge. Each Elder God has a unique power that there's a word for it. I think it's a dark gift maybe that you can perform when you go to the ceremony location. And in the case of Yog-Sothoth, my dark gift is known as the Key and Gate. I can look at any one spell card from any astral column. These are known as astral columns here on these corners. And I can choose to ready that spell at no cost or discard it. That will make more sense as we go. But you can also see that there has been randomly seated at each astral column a card. I also have been given 3 cards as well. These are cards that can either be readied as a spell. These are spell cards that either can be readied to perform what they say on them, or they can be used to go to the particular locations that are denoted on the back. So these are multi-use cards to an extent. When you look, for example, this Transmogrify, that should hopefully come into focus. Here we go. By being able to have these two symbols available, and I'll explain how, I could then ready this spell that I could then cast at any point, and it has a special power: change any one rolled die to any face, and if the new face is one of the Cthulhu tentacle or face, I would become cursed. It also tells you right here, sorry that went out of focus, but it also tells you at the top what is on the opposite side, which basically which location you can go to. All right. So the turn order is pretty simple. It's listed on this player aid card. Basically, you have a prepare, which in the first turn means nothing. If you had artifacts that you had exhausted, you would unexhaust them. Then you move, activate, and conclude. And I'll explain those as I go. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do, since I don't have any preparation to do, is I'm going to move my piece from the other worlds to one of these three locations. So this location is the ceremony. So if I played this card, I could go to the ceremony, and by going there, what I would be able to do is to use my Dark Gift, and I would get a gate card. These gate cards are handy because they're used as wild cards for any symbol that you can use to go anywhere. It's also one of the only ways you can go to the other worlds, even though I start there. So I can go to the ceremony. I could go to the library with my red card. There you draw 3 spell cards at the library. And you could additionally ready an additional spell. And with my third card here, I could also go to the museum. And in the museum, I could pick up one of those 2 artifacts, or I can draw from the top deck of the artifact deck and potentially do other things from there. So I think what I'm going to do is I am going to play this card. You play it in the column that you are in, okay? You play it from where you're starting from. So I am going from the other worlds to the ceremony, all right? Now, once I've done that, there are a couple of other things you have to check. Once you've moved to a new location, if there are 3 or more investigators, which in this case there are not, those investigators come to your lodge, and you'll find out why you wouldn't want that necessarily to happen, because raids can happen and that's not good. So there are not more than 3. So the next thing that I do is I place one of my cultists from my lodge in that location, and I also place another investigator from the supply into that spot. Now, at this point, what I'm going to do is check for control. In the solo game, you have control of a region if you have at least 3 of your cultists and more than the Arkham investigator. So if, for example, if the situation was like this, I would have control. However, I don't. And so what I can do is I can roll for temporary control. On this die, you've got a number of different symbols. You've got, these are elder sign symbols. These are tentacles. All right. That is another greater elder sign. I think these are minor elder signs, and that's a greater elder sign. And you have 1 Cthulhu head symbol, which is not quite showing up. There he is. There's Cthulhu. If I can roll that 1 in 6 shot, I'm going to gain temporary control of that location, and I did not. Okay, so I can only do the basic action there. If I had gained control, that would allow me to do an additional action, which basically would have been, I could have sacrificed 2 of my cultists from the ceremony to advance 1 space on the summon track. So that would have been terrific. If I could have done that, I'd have been 1/9 of the way to victory, but no such luck. So what I am going to be able to do is I'm going to be able to do my Dark Gift, which is look at any one spell card from any location, and I could choose to ready that spell at no cost or discard it. All right. What I think I would like to do is, I'm not sure it necessarily matters at this point which one I'm getting, although maybe it, well, no. Okay, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll look at this card. Now, normally, to ready a spell, you have to be able to show that you have access to those symbols. How do you gain access? Well, interestingly enough, this is one that were I to already have this in hand, I could ready it, because if you look at the location that you're at, you check the astral column. In this case, every spot has one. This has the white symbol and it also has a red symbol there. If you can see, that's exactly what I need, the white symbol and the red symbol, to be able to ready this spell. However, that was just complete dumb luck. I don't even need that because my dark spell is at no cost. So what I am going to do is I'm going to ready the spell. I'm going to place it here. Normally this should go a little bit above the board, but in the interest of space, I'm going to put it like this. So now this spell can be cast at any time, including right now. And what the Dark Pact will allow me to do is I could become cursed to prevent gaining all minor elder signs from a single source, so potentially from a raid. Sorry, it's I know with lighting we're having, oh, and you know what, in just a moment, I'm gonna try to brighten it up in here a little bit. I forgot to turn on some lights. So that's something that I can do at any point. The other thing that's nice is that when it's readied, when it's not actually been cast, because once you cast it, it gets discarded, this counts as a symbol that you could use to ready another spell, okay? So I have moved, I have activated that location's ability, and now I go to the conclude phase, where this is where I would normally be able to ready a spell, but I've already done that. And then I draw back up to 3 cards in hand, which I have now done. I'm also going to take a quick pause right here because I do want to turn on those 2 lights that I had forgotten to do. So just give me one moment. All right, I'm not sure if the brightness is really going to show much, but the lights are on, so we're going to go. After my turn, the investigator takes a turn. They move to a new location. For their turn, what you do is you take the top card of the spell deck and you put it in the astral column of the current investigator piece's location, which in this case is right here. All right, so that goes in the astral column, and this piece is now going to go to the library because that corresponds to the red spot. Once you've done that, you're going to then place an investigator in that location. All right, so now we've got 2 investigators in the library. If the investigator's fate piece ever moves on to my location, then I'm immediately going to draw 1 curse card, 1/5 of the way to losing the game, and the investigator's fate piece is then moved to the other worlds. All right. Also, there is a different ability that happens when they go to the streets of Arkham, which I'll explain when we get there. Okay, so now it's my turn. I'm in the ceremony. What I would have loved to, oh, actually, I should have gotten this gate card, because I was just getting ready to say what I would have loved to have done is gone to the other worlds. Well, I actually am going to go to the other worlds now because I'm going to go ahead and spend that gate card that I should have taken on the last turn. All right, so I go ahead and I spend that gate card. I go to the other worlds. I place, there are not more than 3 investigators, so I don't have to worry about that. I place one of my cultists. I place one of the investigators there. And now I'm going to try to gain temporary control because I do not have control of that location. I did not get that, unfortunately. That would have been pretty wonderful. And so now in the other world's location, what you do here is you roll a die for every cultist that you have, and for each tentacle or Cthulhu head, you can sacrifice one of your cultists from the other worlds and advance 1 space on the summon track that way. So really what I'm hoping for right now is potentially to move up 2 spots on the summon track by rolling tentacles or Cthulhu heads. I'm rolling 2 dice. I always want to say die. 2 dice, and I'm hoping that I get 2 die here, 2 of them dying. So let's hope for tentacles and or Cthulhu heads. Hey, what do you know? 2 tentacles. That's fantastic. So, because I rolled those 2, these 2 cultists are going to go to the abyss, and I get to move up 2 on the track there. And now I can look at potentially readying a spell. You can ready up to 1 spell per turn. So now, if you look at this astral column, you've got a wild card or a wild symbol, a blue symbol, a white symbol, and I've got a green symbol right here. So I've got some really good possibilities to ready spells. I actually, at this point, looking at it, I can ready any one of these spells. Yes, I can ready any one of these spells. So I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and ready this Transmogrify, okay? Change any one rolled die to any face. The new face, if the new face is a tentacle or Cthulhu, then I would become cursed. Really, I'm doing this mostly because I want to have that symbol available to me. Now, in this case, since I used these symbols, remember over here I didn't use the symbols. That was just an ability that gave me, I was able to ready the spell for free. Here I'm actually spending, quote unquote, these symbols. So these are going to get discarded. I'll just keep a discard deck right here. All right, so these are discarded from that location, and I'm going to draw back up to 3. All right, which I have done. All right, I've gone through move, activate, and conclude, and now it is the investigator's turn. The investigator is at the library. They're going to move to the gathering. All right, we're going to bring an investigator to the gathering. Okay, so far so good. Now it is my turn. I can go to the library, I can go to the streets of Arkham, or I can go to the ceremony. All right, I think what I'm going to do is go to the ceremony, because I would like to be able to potentially, since I will have control when I go there, I would like to be able to sacrifice 2 of my cultists from there to go up another space on the summon track. So one thing I wanted to note is that although I have the symbol to go to the ceremony, if you ever have 2 of the same symbol, that can be used as a wild card, just like this gate can be used as a wild card. So if that may come into play at some point, it might not. So what I'm going to do right now is play this card to the astral column, move my fate piece to the ceremony. All right, I get a gate card because I almost forgot that last time, and I get to do my dark gift. All right. Oh, first, before I do that, I should place 1 of my cultists there and 1 investigator there. Now, next time I go to the ceremony, I'm going to have to take those 3 investigators and put them at my lodge. All right. So, my dark gift, look at any 1 spell card, and I can choose to ready that spell at no cost or discard it. So, let's go ahead and let's take a look at this card. This says Find Artifact. It allows me to draw an artifact from the artifact deck. You got to take my word for that. There we go. Find artifact. We had to find card. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and ready that. And I may end up just casting that right now. If I remember correctly, I'm going to double check the rule book, but I think that in most cases you can cast a spell whenever you like. I believe that once to cast a spell, reveal a ready spell at any time. Okay. And it says they can be cast the same turn that they are readied. So I readied this spell. I'm going to go ahead and cast it. And I'm going to just draw a artifact from the artifact deck. Let's see what I got. I got the Amulet of, it looks like Nephin Ka, maybe? There we go. There we go. I can tap it to change 1 minor elder sign to a tentacle, or I can get rid of it, discard it, to change all minor elder signs to tentacles. That could be helpful. That might actually even be helpful this turn. So I'm going to put that in my play area here. Okay. I do have control of this territory because when I got there, this Wait a minute, is that correct? No, because I had to bring an investigator there, so I didn't. I need to roll for... Is that correct? Yeah, I think I need to roll for temporary control. So unfortunately, that may not... Yeah. That I don't get control. I was thinking that I had control there. Am I missing something? I'm second guessing myself because I didn't think... I thought I was going to have more investigators than them. Did I move that there and then say that next turn... I moved here. I put one of... Okay, I'm going to assume that I don't have control of that, unfortunately, because I would have liked to have been able to do that control action, but I'm guessing that I didn't. Okay, so I have completed my turn. I'm going to conclude by drawing back up to 3, and here we go. And we're, unfortunately for me, going to have an issue here because we now are moving, it looks like, the investigator piece to my location. All right, so he's going to the ceremony where I am. And so let's find out what happens here. All right, I'm going to immediately draw a curse card. Well, that's a bummer because that's 1 of 5. I'm going to put that right in the middle here. That's 1 of 5. That's going to end the game for me. Then the investigator's fate piece is moved to the other worlds. All right, so investigator moves to the other worlds. That's a shame. All right. I also, well, what I probably should have done first is placed an investigator there because it still went to that location. I'm just double checking here. It looks like, yeah, I should still put an investigator there. I don't see anything here that would say it's not. So really what happened is I got a curse and they moved to the other worlds. Okay, well that's a bummer. So now it's my turn. Where do I want to go? Well, I would have loved to have gone to the other worlds, quite honestly. Well, I think I still can because it says if the investigator's fate piece ever moves into yours, that's different than me going there. The way I read this is I should still be able to go there without an issue. It's just that if he moves onto my location, then I would draw a curse card. All right? I'm checking to make sure that I don't see anything here that says I cannot go to the same spot as the... but I'd like to... I don't have any cultists there. So what I think I'm going to do instead is go to the gathering. All right, let's go to the gathering. So I'm going to go place that. I'm going to go here. There are only 2. I place 1 from my lodge, 1 from the supply, and what I'll check for control, which I did not get. Okay, so at the gathering, what happens is I return 3 cultists from the abyss to my lodge. All right, and then I may move 1 of my cultists from the gathering to any location. So I'm going to move 1 to the other worlds because that's going to help me hopefully summon closer on my summon track. All right, so I did that. I am here. Do I want to try to ready a spell? I've got a green and a white and a blue. I've got 2 greens, a white, and a blue. I could go ahead and ready this Dark Pact which takes a white and a blue. I think I'll go ahead and do that. It can't hurt, even if I'm just using them for potential symbols for other plays. So this is going to go ahead and get discarded. All right, I'm going to draw back up to 3. All right. So I have moved, I have activated the location. Now I've readied a spell doing the conclusion. I've drawn back. All right. If I ever at the end of my turn have 5 or more investigators in my lodge, that's one way a raid will occur, and you'll see that soon enough, I'm pretty sure. Okay, investigator's turn. We go ahead and we place this here. They're going to the library. Now you're starting to see investigators everywhere. Many places that I go, I will not, I'll have to pick up a bunch of investigators. Okay, so, just to kind of explain the places I haven't gone yet. If I were to go to the streets of Arkham, if I had investigators in my lodge, I could return 2 of them back to the supply. So this is a place to go if I want to get rid of investigators that are in my lodge to make it less likely for a raid. The other place I haven't gone yet is the museum. The museum will allow me to choose one of the 2 face-up artifacts or from the top of the deck. And the library I haven't gone to will allow me to draw 3 spell cards. There's no limit. I could have as many spell cards really as I can hold. All right. So I think that explains every location so far. So let's see. I would love to go. Do I want to go ahead and go to the other worlds? I'd rather have more. I'd really like to have more cultists there. But if I go to the ceremony, I'm really risking a lodge. I'm really risking a raid, excuse me. Well, but that's going to give me control. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and use my gate card, which is a wild. I'm going to go ahead, and that's risky because other worlds that's really one of the only ways to get there other than drawing 2 cards. Oh, yeah, that goes there. I'm going to go here to the ceremony. There are more than 3, so I pick up all of these, and they're going in my lodge. Okay? They're going in my lodge. I place 1 of my cultists there and 1 investigator. Now, I clearly have control of this location. So now what I do is I'll gain my gate card back because that's what that location allows me to do. And I get to do my dark gift, which will allow me to look at a spell card from any location. I can choose to ready it or discard it. And so I'll go ahead and I'll take a look at this one here. This is Find Gate. At the start of your turn, draw 1 gate card. During the move phase, you must use this for movement. I like that. So I'm going to get rid of one of these other ones. I'll get rid of this Dark Pact, and instead I'll keep this Find Gate card. I like that. So I've done that, but now I have control of the ceremony location. So I can sacrifice 2 cultists from the ceremony to advance 1 space. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Sacrifice these 2 cultists, and now I'm up to 3. I'm a third of the way to my goal here. Okay? I have moved, I have activated, I'm concluding, I can't ready a spell. Well, I could if I wanted to discard one of these, but I don't think I want to right now. I do not, luckily, have 5 or more investigators. I'm mighty close, but not quite there. So I don't have to do a raid. Here we go. It's the investigator's turn. They're going to go to the streets of Arkham. This, I think, is likely going to not be good for me. So they go to the streets of Arkham, and here's what happens. All right. If the investigator's fate piece ever moves to the streets of Arkham, a raid occurs immediately. So first thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and put that investigator in there because that's what that does. And so here's what happens for a raid. For a raid, I have to look at the number of investigators in my lodge. Okay. In this case, I've got 4. And I roll a die for every one of those investigators. So I'm going to be rolling 4 die. All right. On the greater elder sign symbol, which is kind of like a star, for every one of those I roll, the investigator stays in my lodge and I gain an elder sign. For every minor elder sign that I roll, I gain an elder sign, but the investigator runs away because they're frightened. For any Cthulhu head or tentacle that I roll, I kill the investigators and they have done no damage to me at all. All right. Remember, another way that I can lose the game in addition to getting 5 curses is I can get 10 elder signs. All right. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and roll and hope for a lot of tentacles and Cthulhu heads. And I got, okay, this isn't too bad. I got a Cthulhu head, a tentacle, and 2 minor elder signs. So I think I'm going to live with that. I do have cards that allow me to get rid of those, but I'm not going to waste those right now. I'll take the 2 elder signs, cover up my 9 and my 8. All right. And 2 of these get killed. The other 2 run away. Okay. Luckily, I didn't have any minor or major elder signs. They didn't, so I didn't have any that stayed in my lodge. So now my lodge is free of those pesky investigators. All right. So that was the investigator's turn. Now, I could have used, actually, I could have used my amulet of Nephren Ka to change 1 elder sign, minor elder sign, to a tentacle. That's what I'm going to do. I don't take one of those. All right. So actually, that took care of that. But now I can't, until the beginning of my, or the end of this turn. No, it's prepare. Okay, so I unexhaust artifacts right now. Okay, so that's going to be fine because it's now the beginning of my turn, so I get to unexhaust that. All right, my turn. Okay, I wouldn't mind going to the other worlds. I think. Now wait a minute. I want to make sure. Did I make a mistake when I readied this spell? Was I spending symbol? No, I think that was my dark gift, so I didn't have to discard anything. Okay, so I think what I might do is go ahead and play my gate card to go to the other worlds. All right, play the gate card. Go to the other worlds. Place 1 of my cultists. Place an investigator there. All right. I'm going to try to get temporary control. Darn, not quite. I haven't gotten any temporary control yet. So in the other worlds, again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be rolling 1 die for each of my cultists. And for each tentacle or Cthulhu head, I get to advance 1 space on the summon track. Look at that. Nice. 2 tentacles. Beautiful. So these go to the abyss, and I move up 2 more. I'm at 5. I'm getting closer. Getting closer. Now, the first time that my summon marker hits the elder sign, hits an elder sign, that's going to give me another curse. So that's something I'm going to have to keep in mind as well. All right. Okay. So now it is the well, first of all, let me make sure I'm not missing anything. I've activated. I can ready a spell if I want to, but I'm pretty happy with the 3 spells that I have right now. I'm already at my 3 cards, so I don't draw up. And now we go to the investigator's turn. Looks like the investigators are going to the museum. All right. Going to the museum. Here comes an investigator. If we ever run out of investigators in the supply, that also triggers a raid. All right. Okay. My turn again. You can see this goes pretty quick once we get moving. Where do I want to go? I'd like to go back to the ceremony. I'm really trying to bump up my summon track, but I can't get there. What I can do is go to the gathering. So I believe I'm going to do that. I'm going to just start stacking these a little bit so that they don't run out of table space. I'm going to go ahead and go to the gathering. I'm going to have to take these investigators, unfortunately, into my lodge. I'm going to place 1 of my investigators there. Or excuse me, 1 of my cultists there. 1 of the investigators from the supply there. I gain 3 cultists from the abyss into my lodge, and I get to move 1. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm wondering, do I want to move them to the ceremony because that would give me, or do I want to move them to the other worlds? I'm going to go ahead and move it to the ceremony. All right. So I have moved. I have actually I should have rolled for temporary control, which I didn't get. I have activated, and now I'm going to draw back up to 3, and that's going to conclude this turn, and now we'll go to the investigator's turn. All right, so it looks like the investigator is going to go to the library. We'll go ahead and place that there. We're getting pretty full of investigators here. That's not terrific. All right, so now what I would like to do is go to the ceremony, but I don't have that option. I can go to the streets of Arkham and get rid of some of these, get rid of some of those investigators. So I think I might do that. I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead, I will go to the Streets of Arkham. I get to get rid of 2 of my, first let me check for control. Did not get it. I'm going to place one of my cultists there, one of the investigators there, and now I get to do the action, which is I return 2 of the investigators from the lodge back to the supply. If I had control, I could sacrifice one of my cultists to get another one out, but that's not really necessary. Don't need to do that. So I think at this point I'm going to draw back up to 3. Unfortunately, I'm hoping to get over to the Ceremony of the Otherworlds, but it's not happening so far. All right. And now we go to the investigator's turn. The investigator looks like they're going to the museum. All right. Go to the museum. We're going to add an investigator from the supply to the museum. All right, it's back to me. All right, I'm in the Streets of Arkham, so I don't want to go to the museum, so it looks like I'm going to go to the library because at this point, that's really my best option, I believe. So I add this to the astral column. I go to the library. Unfortunately, this may not have been great because I'm going to have a raid. These 4 investigators are coming into my lodge. I'm going to place one of my cultists there. We're going to place one of the investigators there. That really may not have been a smart move. I go ahead and I draw, well, first let me check for temporary control, which I didn't get. I draw 3 cards. All right, which is activating that location. And now I could ready a spell, which I'm not going to do, but I do have to raid the lodge because I have 5 or more investigators. So we're going to roll these 5, and once again I am looking for Cthulhu heads and tentacles. Alright, so this is not great. I got, wow, 2 greater elder signs, 1 minor elder sign, and Cthulhu head and a tentacle. So I'm going to use my amulet of Nephrin Ka, and I'll change this to a tentacle. Oops, that's a tentacle now. And so 3 of them are destroyed. I get 2 elder signs and they stay in my lodge. Not great. All right. But that's what happens. Those pesky investigators, they do damage as well. All right. So that was the end of my turn. And now we go to the investigator's turn. Looks like they're going to the gathering. All right, we place that there. They go to the gathering. They add an investigator. And now, oh boy, I'd love to go to the other worlds, but I think I'm going to go to the ceremony because the other worlds I don't have, I'd only be able to, at the most, get 1 summoning. And here I can also potentially get 1 summoning. So I'll go ahead. I'll go to the other, or to the ceremony. All right. Place one of my investigators. Place one of their investigators. I have control. I don't have to even worry about temporary control. I have control. And so now I can do a Dark Gift, the Key and Gate. Let's go ahead and look at this. Oh, this is another Find Gate. This is at the start of your turn, draw a gate card, and then you can use that. I do like that. Do I want to keep that again, or do I want to get rid of one of these? Well, I'll just discard it. I already have 1 Find Gate, and I need to remember I have that, quite honestly. All right, so now I do get a gate card. I tend to forget that sometimes. That should have been unprepared or untapped. Now, since I'm there, I can sacrifice 2 to move up 1 space on the summon track, so I'm going to do that. So now I'm at 6, getting ever closer. 3 away. 3 away. All right. I'm already at more than 3 of my cards. The investigators will now take their turn. Looks like they're going to the museum. All right. Going to the museum. We're placing an investigator there. Okay, it is my turn. I'm wondering if I want to go to the other worlds. I'd really actually like to get some cultists, more cultists over there first, because if I go to the other worlds, I'm gonna have to draw these into my lodge. I'll have a raid, but it's almost unavoidable at this point. I really need to just start boosting up this. I need to start boosting up my summon track. I'm 3 away, so I do think I might just go to the other worlds. I'll go ahead and play gate card. I will go to the other worlds. There are 3 here. All right, so I take them. They're going to go to my lodge. I place 1 from my lodge, 1 of the investigators. I'm going to roll for temporary control. I did not get it. All right. So what I can do now is roll a die and hope that I can get. Honestly, at this point, I'm almost afraid to say it. Because of my amulet, anything but a greater elder sign is good for me. So let's hope. And okay, so I rolled that, which normally would not be good, but I can use my amulet, which is going to allow me to change that to a tentacle, which is going to allow me to sacrifice this cultist and going to get me up to 7. But since I'm now encountering my first elder sign, I have to take a curse. So now I have 2 out of 5 curses, which will end the game for me. All right. And 3 out of 10 elder signs, which could potentially end the game for me as well. All right. All right. I don't believe I want to ready a spell right now. I believe that I'll just go to the investigator's turn. So they're going to go to the streets of Arkham. Oh, no. They're not. It's not the investigator's turn. I have to do a raid. It's the end of my turn. And I have 5 or more investigators. So time for a raid. I'm glad I caught that because that would have triggered a raid on the next round anyway. So I'm rolling 5 dice. And I have already tapped this, so I can't use this turn, unfortunately, for this, because I've already used it once. All right. So that could have been a lot worse. I'm going to get 2 elder signs, but I'm going to be able to drive off 4 of these. 3 of them are going to be killed. 1 of them is going to be scared, and 1's going to stay. And I'm going to get 2 elder signs. All right, so that gets me to 5. So halfway to death on elder signs, and that ended that. All right, now we do this, which is going to be another raid, because he's going. The investigator. Oh, that's me. The investigator is going to the streets of Arkham. Almost put it in the wrong spot. All right. And when the investigator goes there, he's going to immediately perform a raid, which in this case is going to be rolling 1 die. And luckily, it's gone. Okay. Killed them in the raid. All right. So now it's the beginning of my turn. I unexhaust my artifact. Do I want to go to the ceremony? I think I do. So I believe what I'll do is I'll spend. Actually, do I want to do my find gate or do I want to spend? Let's spend these. I will spend both of these 2 yellows to move to count as a white. I'll move here. I'll place 1, and I'm running low on cultists, so I'm going to have to go to the gathering here next. I'll probably have to use my find gate to go there. So I put a cultist, put an investigator. I'm going to roll for. Hey, I did get control, which is nice. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use that. Oh, yes, that's exactly what I needed, because that allows me to sacrifice 2 of them and get... that could not have worked better. Okay, so first thing is I can look at any 1 card. I'll go ahead and alter fate. Either re-roll up to 3 of your dice once or 1 of your dice 3 times. Wow, I like that. So yeah, let's keep that. Let's get rid of Transmogrify. Go ahead and discard that, and I'll take Alter Fate. I'll take a gate card. And since I have control, thankfully from the temporary control, I can now sacrifice 2 cultists from the ceremony to move up 1 on. I'm 1 away. 1 away from summoning Yoth Sothoth, which would be terrific for me, not for the world. And now I draw back up to 3. All right. This gate card doesn't count towards my 3, by the way. I know it's off camera, but The gate card does not count towards the 3 that you draw at the end of your turn. Okay? So now I don't have any investigators, and I don't have to worry about raiding. Now we go to the investigator's turn, and it looks like they're going to be going to the gathering, which stinks because that's exactly where, well, I guess that, again, that doesn't matter, even though if I can go there. All right, so he's going to go here. The only bummer there is that now I'm going to draw those investigators into my lodge, and I wouldn't have otherwise. All right, so I will go ahead and play my gate card to go to the gathering. All right, we're going to visit each other. I'll place my last cultist there. Actually, these come into my lodge first. Now I put another investigator there. All right, I'm going to roll for, did not get temporary control. So now what I do here is I return 3 from the abyss to my lodge. And is that it? Yeah, and then I can move any one from here to any other location. I'm going to go ahead and move one to the other worlds because I'm hoping to set up for a win on my next turn. That would be splendid. All right. Okay, I've already got my 3 cards. I have activated, and I'm not going to ready a spell. I don't need to do a raid. So now we go to the investigator's turn. They're going to go to the museum right over here. All kinds of investigators over there. All right. And now it is my turn. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my find gate. At the start of your turn, draw 1 gate card. During the move phase, you must use this gate card for movement. So I'll go ahead and use that. I'll take this gate and I'll use it right away to go to the other worlds. All right. When I go to the other worlds, I'm going to place one of my cultists there. I'm going to place an investigator there. I'm going to roll for temporary control, and I didn't get it. All right, so here's what it comes down to. I'm going to be rolling 2 dice. All right. I have my Amulet of Nephrin Ka. So if I understand this right, as long as I don't roll 2 major elder signs here, I should be able to win the game. Let's take a look. And I'm good. I got one here. I can sacrifice to move up 1 space on my summon meter, and what do you know? I have summoned the mighty and terrible Yog-Sothoth. That looks like a victory for the bad guys, or in my case, the good guys. So there you have it. Fate of the Elder Gods. It plays really quickly once you kind of get the turn structure going, and hopefully you got a pretty good idea on how to play it, and I hope you enjoyed. I thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.